It has been a big couple of weeks in U.S. politics. I'm Becky Swansburg, CEO here at Stonewood Financial, and I have been getting calls from advisors time and time again the last few weeks saying, Becky, what does this all mean for our clients? How should we be communicating all this craziness? What should we do? So today I'm here to give you one big picture framework and two very targeted immediate frameworks that you can use with your clients when talking about what is happening both on the election and in Washington, D.C. through this election cycle. Now, of course, we have had President Biden drop out of his candidacy, and Harris is now going to be the Democratic nominee, it looks like. We've also had a vice presidential pick on the Republican side. So lots of news, lots of volatility, actually a lot that is unprecedented in government in the modern era. So what does it all mean for our clients? How do we frame it up? First, let's look at the big picture framework as we are discussing legislative risk in retirement. Now, as a quick reminder, legislative risk in retirement is all about the risk that Congress or the president changes the rules, and those changes negatively impact your client's retirement approach. It's really about how we protect our clients' happy retirement from the whims of what's happening in Washington. Now, here's what I think our clients need to understand about this election. No matter who wins in November, it is not going to fix the risk of legislative changes impacting their retirement approach. Now, why is that? Well, the truth of the matter is, the single biggest thing that drives legislative risk in retirement is not whether Republicans or Democrats are in the White House in a given year. It is the fact that every 2 years in America, we hold elections, which means every 2 years in our country, we have new government. Now, I'm willing to bet most of your clients do not plan on just being retired for the next 4 years. And that means the outcome of this election is only one of dozens of election cycles that they need to manage over the next 10, 20, 30, or for some of our clients, even 40 years into the future. Obviously, 30 years ago, we could not predict the election environment that we're in today, and we can't expect our clients to do that going forward. That's one of the reasons that it is critical that your clients right now in 2024 do some solid planning with you as their financial professional to help address and protect a portion of their retirement approach from these legislative changes that could be coming from Washington based on this very crazy election cycle. The reality is, whether you are happy with the outcome of this election in November or mad about it, everything changes again in another 2 years. Now, let's talk about two frameworks that are much more immediate to what's happening today. And I think one of the things that we can do is tap into the unease that the volatility in this election cycle has caused for a lot of our clients. Because sometimes I want to look at clients and say, look, do you feel good about what's happening in the country right now? And do you want to feel this way for the next 40 years when it comes to your retirement? Today's volatility is kind of indicative of something larger happening in our nation. And that is that we are a deeply divided nation that does not agree really on core founding principles. Because of that, we can expect to continue to see wide swings in the years ahead. So if we are uncomfortable with the volatility that's going on today, we have two choices. We can either keep being uncomfortable for the decades ahead as we enter and then live in retirement, or we can take some action to help protect our retirement assets against legislative risk, to help kind of inoculate a portion of our retirement approach from these changes in Washington so that when they happen in another 2 years, in another 4 years, they may impact us and how we feel about our government, but they will not impact the success or failure of our retirement approach. The other framework that I think is important to remember is that the outcomes of today's elections have impacts that last far into the future. And that's because a lot of the legislation passed by Congress that impacts things like IRAs, 401ks, Social Security, Medicare, they may be passed today, but a lot of those provisions Congress has taking place in the future. So a great example of this, if you remember the Inflation Reduction Act that passed in, I believe, 2022, it was about $740 billion spending package. And in it, there were some changes to IRMA, some changes to those fees applied for Medicare premiums. But the interesting thing is those IRMA changes don't even take effect till 2030. So it's not just about safeguarding what is happening today. It's about safeguarding what is happening today and the impact that could have for years to come. We know it's not just legislation. It is also this runaway spending in our nation that is driving up our annual deficit and our federal debt to unsustainable levels. And what does that mean? If our government is dramatically spending more than we're taking in year after year after year, we're going to have to find a way to take in more money. And of course, that could mean higher taxes for all of our clients. Remember, over half of our nation's entire funding comes from individual income taxes that you, me, and our clients all pay. So I get questions a lot from advisors. Is it okay to talk about the election? Is it okay to talk about these things with clients? The answer is absolutely yes, because it doesn't have to be political. This is not about Republicans or Democrats being in the White House. It's about every 2 years having the risk of a government that is not looking favorably on your client's retirement approach and what we as financial professionals can do to help safeguard our clients against this. Now, you know, this is a passion of ours here at Stonewood. We have an entire legislative risk toolkit ready for you. We've got seminars and webinars that you can use between now and the election, white papers and client brochures that help uncover this risk of rising taxes and legislative changes and how they could impact your clients' IRAs and 401ks in the future. Definitely look into that legislative risk toolkit. The other thing I'll tell you is coming in September, it will be Legislative Risk Month here at Stonewood. As we ramp into the election, we'll be giving you some additional resources and tools that you can use to communicate effectively with your clients. Not just that this election could have an impact, but there are real tactical changes that your clients can make with your help today that will help protect them against legislative risk in the future, no matter what November and all the Novembers that follow may bring. As always, if there's anything my team and I can do to help, please feel free to reach out.